Hey there, this is Dr. Corey Gilbert with the Healthy Marriage Inner Circle and the Warrior Marriage Podcast, and I'm excited today to talk to you about a book that really impacted me about 23 years ago. I was beginning seminary, working on my Master's in Marriage and Family Counseling and Master's in Christian Education, and I was first class right out of college. I was 2 weeks out of college, where I had been studying music, actually, and then realized you have to have talent, and I wasn't good enough, so I ended up in therapy, if you will, as in trying to become a therapist. It's kind of a neat story, but first class was a teaching class, how to teach, part of the Christian education training, and I was asked to teach in class, and I'm this 23, I think, 22-year-old. Oh, cannot imagine. That's crazy. And the book that I chose to teach from, I'm a single guy, young, and a group of people much older than me, a lot of them, was this one, His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Harley. So class came in, I gathered all the guys in the class, brought them to the front of the class. I was like, all right, I'm going to teach you about how to love your wife. And brought this up. We walked through this scenario, this worksheet to learn about how to love your spouse. And it looked at this. So here's the summary of this book in one slide. I love it. Here are the 10 needs. So they had a column of man's, they had a column of woman's. And I was confused by this because I was like, these don't quite fit, especially for me. Something didn't quite settle right. And so as I studied more, I realized you look at these 10 and you figure out which one are your top few, top 5 maybe, or even top 2. And this became something I've used over all these 20 plus years that has helped couples, and many times even just half the couple when I have that half. How do I better understand what I need? Not to demand it. That was the most critical piece of this. But if I actually am able to then communicate it to my husband or wife, they actually have better data on how to love me, and vice versa. And that's what these tools became. These tools became incredible resources for us to better know how to serve and love each other. And it goes, again, both ways. As I learn my wife and who she is and her priorities and needs and even desires, just wants, I can better serve and love her, and vice versa. So this was the list. And man's sexual fulfillment, recreational companionship, an attractive spouse, domestic support, admiration. And then over on the women's, and you see almost a parallel with some of this, affection, conversation, honesty and openness, financial support, family commitment. And the truth is it's not as cut and dry as this looks like. That man's is this one list and women's is the others. It is that it's more complicated. And so then over years, I've done marriage retreats where I have the couple, I have this handout, and they walk through that, and they figure out theirs, and then they share it with their spouse. And this can be a powerful tool. But along came some other researchers. This was actually from Willard Harley and all of his working with couples and just great data, especially anecdotal data, working with couples that allowed for a tool that I actually think is a very powerful tool. But this list bothered me, the man and woman, because it's not as simple as that. We're more complicated than that. So then came along the Rosbergs, and this book here that's actually from a research study they did, The 5 Love Needs of Men and Women. I love how they package it like this, from Gary and Barbara Rosberg. So they did a study, and they actually came up with 5 needs for him and 5 needs for her. But not anecdotal, so not just stories of people, actual data from a study. And the interesting thing is the top need was the same in men and women. And then if you look at the rest, and we show you these, I'm not going to show you the top one first, that's covered, but the second one and below were quite similar in their own different order. For husbands, the second one, sexual intimacy, companionship, encouragement and affirmation, spiritual intimacy. Look at the women's, a similar combination, different order, and maybe even different wording, but emotional intimacy and communication, spiritual intimacy, encouragement and affirmation, and companionship. Whoa! Because most of us hear that men need sex. Not true. No one's died without it. That's not true, not true, not true. But what's the most important, the top one, that actually influences all the rest of these? Men that actually are in a sexual relationship and there's not a relationship there, the irony is impotence is pretty close by, if not arriving really quickly. They can't perform, if you will. And that's interesting to think about that. Why? Because it demands something else. And this is actually what they found in their study, that husbands and wives both needed unconditional love and acceptance. There was something about the relationship that provided this permission to be me and this acceptance and this protection that then allowed for those other things. And I hope you see that, and I hope you hear that. There's something really powerful in this that can help you better understand maybe your husband or your wife, maybe even yourself. There's some times you get stuck, and there's some times that you're not sure what you're thinking or feeling or you need. The more you understand yourself, the more you actually can put things into words, which then helps communicate to them, but also makes more sense in your head, in your heart. Sometimes I feel like sometimes we think we're going crazy. Like we don't know what's up and what's down. And it's a lot of times because we can't name some of the things that we need. That we need to have safety between us first before we have other things like the sexual. It's hard to be a companion and have fun with someone that don't feel safe with or feel that unconditional love and acceptance. Even our spiritual intimacy is severely affected by some negativity and some unhealth in marriage. So I hope that you see these as potential tools to actually help you, and maybe reach out to these different books and different resources. I know the Rosbergs have a video series, and there's a bunch of other great resources that's built to help you in your marriage to grow a marriage that you're proud of, that protects you, that actually leaves a legacy for your family. If you need help in doing any of this, I would love to serve you. You can go to my website, healinglives.com. You can also join our free Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/thehealthymarriage, and I'd love to engage with you more and see how I can better serve you, or questions you might have that we can then do some videos that others would benefit from to help serve you so that you could have and build a healthy marriage.